All right, we're live. Hey, everyone out there in YouTube land. I am with Donald Rex, and we're going to be covering some Charlton. And then, well, we've got kind of a convoluted show. I'll explain that in a bit. But let me go ahead and let Donald say hello.
Hello. Hello, Damien. I know you're out there.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe somebody else will jump in. I put the notice on Blue Sky and Mastodon, so I had a few likes on the thing. So maybe some of my friends there will show up.
Well, that would be nice. So, of course, you mentioned two platforms that I don't know anything about. You've told me about them before, but
Yeah, there's no sense in
like
beating a dead horse.
Yeah, it goes over my head. So thank you for being here, Sleepy Reader. So we had kind of a two theme thing going on. So you read a bunch of Charlton romance comics. I'm going to let you explain that. And I took a different tact. I read 5 comics, similar to what I did in Sleepy's live stream yesterday. So I'm going to go over the 5 comics, and they're in different genres. And in between, you're going to be talking, I think, about your the romance comics you read. And then we're going to change tact in the middle, and we both have some types of, well, I thought they were art books, but you have more informative history books about comics.
Yeah, comic history books.
Comic history books. All right. So since you are the guest, you're going to go first. Now, I have to remember how to make us big. I think it's like this. Yeah, and then I slide you over. Hey, I did that pretty smoothly now.
Yeah, very smooth.
Yeah. So do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. As I told you, last week I was waiting to start a new job, and I had a lot of time on my hands. So I started reading my Charlton romance comics, and I didn't read every word of every story, but I mostly like to look at the artwork. But sometimes you just get sucked into the stories and you read them. But I read a whole short box full of Charlton romance comics, and scanned a lot of artwork. Like I'll find panels that are particularly funny, cut them out and I'll post them on those platforms that you're not interested in. Yeah. But what I like about Blue Sky is that I can post comics and stuff, and people can read them.
Yeah, that's true. But you also made some censorious claims about how Charlton romance are, in your opinion, better than DC, that you like them better. So you're going to have to get in there and you're going to have to explain this, and hopefully you have some examples.
Yeah, what I like about them is the art. You see, I got a few examples here. Like my favoriteest Charlton artist is Enrico Niete.
Yes. Everything but the groom.
His stuff is the more you see, the more unusual it becomes. I don't know if you can see that.
I can. So the coloring is very strange.
Yeah.
The beach is pink, the mountains are pink, the boys are blue, and it kind of looks like she's walking on a gay beach there. He's got his scarf flying.
It's very gay. Like gay old time from the Flintstones. But yeah, his art is different from anybody I've ever seen. And I just think it's great.
That top panel looks like something out of Doctor Strange, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, they're surfing. I see. Okay.
Yeah, they're surfing.
Yeah.
But see, that's the good thing about like Blue Sky is, you can actually see the artwork. I wish there was some kind of a way that you could post art on YouTube, but I guess this is the only way to do it that I figured out. I don't know.
No, all you do is you take a picture and you click the post tab. And you write a comment with the post. I could show you that. It's really easy.
Really? You can post a picture in the comments?
Oh, sorry. No, I misunderstood.
I never figured out how to do that. But anyhow, that's Enrique Nieto. I always have a hard time pronouncing his name. But the reason I think that Charlton is more interesting than DC is DC has good artists, but they're like superhero artists. You know, the best artists that I like it are at DC are like Rick Estrada. I really like his stuff, and I can't even really think of the artists that I really like. Most of them are just kind of like superhero artists, and they don't really. Sorry, I'm silencing my phone here.
That's okay.
They don't really impress me that much.
Well, there was a Marvel comic. I may have given it to you, but it was by, I think, John Buscema.
Yeah,
It was gorgeous. So I don't know what you're on about.
Well, because the artists are just more interesting at Charlton, like Luis Avila. I don't have an example of his. I should have got some of these covers out so I could show you the covers.
Yeah,
they're just more interesting to me. They're like Spanish artists or Argentinian.
Yeah,
people who would work cheap because Charlton did pay a lot.
Yeah, and the a lot of them also, I think, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of them also at the same time they were doing some work in the creepy eerie type mags. Or am I wrong about that?
Not really, not these artists. The ones that were working for Marvel and DC were doing work like Alcazar,
a lot of Filipino artists, I think.
Yeah, the Filipino artists did a lot of work for Warren. Okay. Not that aware, but like some of the artists like Ernesto Garcia Sejas were like world renowned in Spain and Italy and all across South America for their work. And yet they did these funky little romance comics for Charlton.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead, and I was answering a comment. So sure. Pieface asked if YouTube deleted the comment. Now, this is something I'm going to slide myself over. Now, this is something weird because in my video title, I used 2 words that are not allowed on YouTube, right? So I put in symbols, and a couple of people who actually put in the actual words, they were saying that their comments never got through. However, I've read about 4 or 5 and the comments did go through and they used the word. So it seems like it's very fickle when they delete comments and when they don't. So anyways, I read 5 comics in 5 different genres. And they are science fiction, what was it called? Westerns, war, superhero, and romance. So pick the one that we're going to do first.
Superhero.
Okay, the superhero. That actually, I read that the penultimate. That was my penultimate reading. So I actually read it this morning. So this one that I read was, I have a bunch of Phantom comics, and so I read this, and I didn't realize he's not really a superhero. He's more like a spy. He's kind of a Batman type person, but he lives in the jungles of Africa.
The ghost who walks.
Yeah, and he protects an African tribe of pygmies. And it's just very strange. But then his adventures take him jet-setting to Paris and everywhere. So, I mean, he gets out of the jungle, he goes to Paris, and then he goes back to the jungle and protects it. Now, when you open up the splash page, I mean, the art, to me, is just serviceable. But it was a lot of fun. There's a lot of, harm to dogs in this comic, but the villain is someone who is like a jewel heister. Is that what they would call them? Like, he steals jewels internationally.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the Phantom has all these jewels in his skull cave, and the guy goes there and he steals all the jewels. You could see some of the art there. Yeah. And so he comes into the village and he attacks everybody, and he's got his dog named Devil, and Devil helps him out. Let's see. We have a comment. It often deletes comments, but the creator can see it in certain platforms. Oh, I don't have that platform. You're gonna have to explain which ones. I'm shadow banned and got striked out from doing videos. So I'm thinking, oh, really? Not that the FBI is trailing you, but you actually got like taken down back in the minute. That's weird.
What kind of videos did you do?
Who knows what he does? Pieface does all kinds of weird things, and he reviews death metal.
Oh,
So that's already suspect. Pieface. So I wanted to show that like here's an instance where his dog, they don't kill the dog, they just knock the dog out. It's so weird. And then he finds out like the spider leaves him a calling card and he has to go find the thing. And then this is the most hilarious coincidence. So he's like, oh, my girlfriend who lives in Paris, I think, I need to call her right now. And she says, I haven't heard from him can that be he? And he just happens to call right when she's thinking about him. And exactly when she gets kidnapped and he can hear it. It's so funny, coincidentally, but it's still pretty good. I mean, it is what it is. So he has to go to that guy's place, and he actually gets captured in a web because they keep this web thing going throughout the whole issue, and he gets captured, but he manages to get away, and he steals some of that guy's stuff, and that makes that guy come to him in the jungle. Overall, it was a really, really fun issue. I enjoyed it more than I thought. That's going to be a theme here. These comics were fun, and the way that he gets out of this is she had chloroform on her, and he dropped it. And so
my girlfriend uses chloroform perfume. I'll tell you about me.
And then I didn't understand this. He's like trapped in this web, and this guy's getting ready to shoot him. So instead of shooting him in the back, she throws him the gun, hoping that he will be able to catch it in time while she's all chloroformed up. Like, how is her aim going to be good? It's pretty hilarious. I was like thinking it would be just faster to shoot the guy in the back, but then the story would be over. Yeah, it's pretty funny. And then I loved this panel. He's this is the main jeweler, and he's in the jungle, and his other car gets trapped in quicksand, and they're like, "Get us out!" And he's like, "I can't spare the time, idiot. You got yourself in there. It's your worry now." So he's like pretty ruthless, but he gets his comeuppance when he has to run through the jungle, and every animal and person is after him. What he doesn't know is the tribe is following him, keeping him safe, actually, but still terrorizing him. And this last panel is just hilarious. He finally has time to be with his girl, and look at the people like peeping Tomming him. It's just such a fun, hilarious comic. And there's like a one-pager about leopards, black leopards. Not Black Panthers. They're leopards that are black. Are those actually black? No, I don't know. Black Panthers, leopards. But they like show this dog getting like killed by a Black Panther. They are not nice to dogs in this comic. And then look, he's like, and once that black leopard has a taste for humans, you better watch out. Yeah. So fun issue. It had me chuckling from beginning to end. Like the art is, like I said, serviceable. I don't know who the artist is, but it was.
What number is that?
That is number 65. And I'm going to say, like, the interior art, maybe the artist is different from the cover, because when I flip the page, it's the same panel, right? It's the same, but there are differences in the art. It's that's
Frank Boyle.
Frank Boyle. Do you know who that person is?
Yeah, he did. He started working in the Golden Age. He did a lot of westerns, and he did some romance too. As a matter of fact, he's not one of my favorites, but he's like you said, serviceable.
So before I slide you over, let's look at some comments. Oh, thank you, Vinyl Richie. I need to watch yours actually. I'm behind on videos. For instance, you can still see deleted comments on StreamYard. You won't even know they are deleted. Oh, I didn't know that. Since you are a rich white dude, I was surprised you didn't get all of right. Yeah, exactly right. Rich middle school teachers buy all the albums. Hey, Morton. Hi. Okay, so let me slide you back over. I put in my comment that I didn't realize you lived in the hood, and they deleted that. I don't know. Why would they delete that?
That's weird.
Yeah. Okay, so that was my first of 5 comics.
I don't have many Charleton superhero comics, but I just got this one last week, Gunmaster.
Oh yeah, you sent me a picture of that one. That one looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was the story was kind of clunky. I mean, it's like a modern day Western, and the guy is just like he's like a gunsmith, and he's a real crack shot, and like they kidnap his sidekick, and he puts on his costume and gets him back. That's about the story. It's kind of dumb.
Oh, I forgot to show one panel in the Phantom where he's driving in a car and he crashes, and he's in disguise, and he crashes the car into a tree, but he jumps out of the car and he's in full costume. I was like, how did that happen? If you typed in homo, I'm sure that's why it got deleted, right? Because that's that's derogatory. I mean, gay people have kind of embraced the word, but of course it's still derogatory. Morton Ostad, I have to always just say Morton. The Phantom or Phantom A here was drawn in Europe, and his uniform was blue, and pants weren't black and blue; they were black and red. Interesting. Yeah. They had a different color scheme. I wonder if the colors were patriotic or something. Was that your contribution, or did you?
Well, I was just going to show. There's another artist that I really like. Let me pull this out. Demetrio Sanchez Gomez, and this is one of his covers.
Oh yeah, I think that cover is pretty cool. I mean, that is like really psychedelic. It's like her hair flowing and everything going behind her in the scarf and the lettering. Yeah, that's really, really cool.
And
so Sleepy's asking, did Boyle do some Solar? Dr. Solar? I don't know.
I don't know. I'd have to look it up. I can't remember. I never liked Solar. I never could figure out what was going on in the stories, but I read them when I was very young. And,
yeah. I have some. I'm going to have to read them. Yeah, I'm trying to get caught up. I mean, I'm never going to get caught up, but I'm jumping into some of these.
Yeah. So, Demetrio Sanchez Gomez, he's got this really kind of a loose style. I can always tell him by the girl's hair or the men's hair. It's a dead giveaway that it's Gomez.
It's very nice.
But I don't know. I can't give good recaps on the stories. I read them and I forget them. I should have read them right before
They're forgettable.
So I could tell you the stupid stuff. You can just read one random panel and it tells you. Mr. Ripple, I represent Lopez and Martin. I'm Rita Martin. Really? I did not. How do you know me? Well, that's not so funny.
Your delivery was. All right. So
okay, next.
Should I slide myself over?
Yeah, slide yourself over.
Okay, so I have what should I do? We'll save the romance for last. So I've got war, Western, and sci-fi.
Western.
All right, the Western. the Western was the first one I read, and I really enjoyed this. Now, this is called the Cheyenne Kid,
Yeah.
and that's Cheyenne Kid. I didn't know. You could see that my cover is a little bit beat up, and there are pieces missing.
Yeah.
That's fine. I got it cheap. And what is it called when little pieces are popping off of it?
Chipping.
It's chipping, yeah. And so this is not a masterful cover, but I really dig it. I think the colors, the composition, I just think even the face is not great, but still has a lot of expression. I dig this cover. I
What
really
does the signature say? What's
uh I think it's Sumi Kim, or wait, it's
Sanho Kim?
Sanho Kim. Yeah.
Yeah, or it's actually Kim Sanho because they do it backwards. I know Sleepy is authority on him.
Oh, really?
No.
So then he's gonna like this one. All right. So when I opened up the comic, I was in for a treat because right off the bat, you get this very stylized black and white.
Nice.
It's really cool. And it continues on to the next page. It is the Native American sneaking up on Cheyenne Kid while he's sleeping. And then you get this really cool side panel of him sneaking up on him. He's sleeping right there. Yeah. And then notice how it changes from black and white into color as he reaches his hand forward. I thought that was really cool, a cool way to begin a comic.
Yeah.
Right? It's very cinematic in a way.
Yeah.
How he reaches in and it becomes colorful. So this Native American has been done wrong by the white man, and so he's just sneaking up on white people in the woods, and he's gonna beat them over the head with their own guns. But after he steals some stuff from the Cheyenne Kid tracks him down and gets him to realize that not all white people are horrible and that he can help him. He listens to his story and he finds out what these horrible white people did to him and his family, and he goes back and he gets some revenge for them. It's really funny because like the evil people, their faces are just like all nasty and evil looking. So this was also, like I said, a really, really fun story. And I don't know how politically correct it is. It doesn't really matter to me. And then this also had a backup story. The backup story I didn't really care too much for. It was Wander, and I think you needed some background for this. It seems like there's someone from outer space who's stuck in the Old West and he just helps people. It was weird. So if you can get over that, it's basically just a Western of one person helping another. The art is pretty good in this one. I mean, you can see that. There's some romance involved in this. I like the way the redheaded guy is drawn. It's pretty nice. But it's okay. But I much preferred the beginning story. There's like a bullwhip scene in this. Sorry, when I hold this up, I can't see what I'm holding because of the camera placement. So yeah, you got like a whipping scene in there, and to me it was just okay, that second story. So I really, really dug the first one though.
Yeah, that's a good book. I have to look for that one.
Yeah, like I said, and like it's all, you could see it's all kind of chipping there, bending up right there. But I was very, very pleased with that introduction of black color. It was neat. All right, let me answer some comments and then I'll slide it back to you. So Morton says they often told stories about his ancestors so you could have him fight pirates, be involved in World War I, etc. Did the U.S. comics do that? So Morton, this is the first one that I've read.
The Phantom he's talking about.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. So the current Phantom was the 21st and the first from 1536. They did mention something about the Phantom, him being a long line of heroes. But like I said, this was my first. Ooh, I'm trying to get this in without peeling off the little pages. Already there was a little piece over here that I dropped. So they must do that as well, Morton. Next, I like Sam Ho, but I am just beginning to learn about him. Yeah, me too. As of now. Hi, oh cool, Sanho Kim art. Oh, Metarog, hi, and only Orange Man bad. I like the bad boys, I guess. That is very cool. Thanks for showing the Cheyenne Kid. Yeah, it was a really good. I would like to read more of this comic. A whipping scene. Those Kim covers are spectacular. So if you're just joining, this is my real. I buy a lot of Charlton comics because they're cheap, and I haven't read many of them. So I'm just kind of dipping into them because Donald is a real fan of Charlton romance. So we kind of built our show around that theme. All right, so I'm sliding Donald over, and you're up.
Okay, I'm trying to find this story I was going to talk about.
I could do another one in the meantime.
Yeah, do another one. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
Never mind. Go ahead.
This book is Teen Confessions. It's covers by a guy named Sarah Reggio, and he's a pretty good artist. I think he's Argentinian, maybe, or maybe Italian. I don't know. I can never figure out where they come from. But this book is notable because it's got a very early story by Mike Kaluta.
Oh yeah, I think you mentioned that before. So Mike Kaluta did one of my favorite covers ever, and that's The Demon Baby. Ooh. I love that cover. Do you remember which one? House of Secrets, I think.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Cover.
But it's very simple. Not many backgrounds, but you can tell it's definitely Kaluta style. And
yeah, it's nice.
Not much of a story.
Metarog said, "Thank you for sending him pictures of the Wayne Howard romance story."
Oh, you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I had one of his stories I was going to talk about too.
Oh, you know what? Why don't we take this little pause and let me grab my, although I should have had this ready. I'm going to grab my iPad because you've been pressing comics, which is something I've wanted to do for a while. And I have some pictures of the before and after. And of course, I'm really jealous because they look so good. So this is one you sent me about a week ago. Sorry, it'll take a little bit of time for my computer to focus in on that. But you can see how it's bending up and curled, and that was the before picture. And then, here's another. It's a close-up of it, and there is the after. Hold on, it'll take a second for it to. I hope. There we go. So there is the after picture, and you can see that it's much flatter, and I think it looks a lot better. So
do you want to do anything about the chips, but yeah, of course.
And do you want to talk about the process you use?
Well, I just do what I see in the videos on YouTube. You know, I use a steamer, and well, first I kind of clean the books, to get all the dirt off of them, and then I'll steam all the pages, and just get them a little bit damp, they're not wet or anything, and then you put a backer board in the middle with sometimes I use just regular bond typing paper on the inside of the backer board so it won't stick.
Yeah,
and then I put piece of paper on the inside of the back cover and the inside front cover.
Oh yeah, I've seen the video.
Then I use this kind of wax paper that between the cover, the inside and the back cover, and then sandwich it between the boards, and put it in the press and press away. I do it for about 170 degrees for about 2-3 minutes, and then I turn off the press and just let it sit overnight.
Yeah,
and it works pretty well.
So I have another example that you sent me this morning. But for some reason, I didn't port both pictures over to my iPad. So Pieface says he won't even iron his shirts, but Pieface, you're not like an eccentric comic collector like we are. So here is the one that you sent me. Oh, I don't even know if that's gonna focus it. Drat. I don't know. Like,
doesn't look like it's gonna focus.
There we go.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah, you can see it's all wrinkled. That was an experiment. Yeah, it was very wrinkled. The spine has got a lot of color breaks, but then with the after, it did come out flat, which I was very happy with.
So yeah, I mean that comic looks way nicer. So you're saving these beautiful comics.
Yeah, just so they look a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. And all right, so let me go ahead and kind of get rid of my iPad. And the next one I'm going to show is the science fiction one. So this one is a show that we were talking about this. This is a show I hated as a kid. It came on really late night, and I just was not into it. Like, I could not understand it. I mean, I'm talking, I was really young. So I think last year or the year before, I watched season 1. I need to watch season 2. And it's a really fun, funky show. It's just trippy. I think season 2 is a little bit more grounded, though. We'll see. They added new characters. I think they were trying to be more popular. But anyways, this has a pretty nice cover. The art is weird, right? It's not that clean, but it's just an interesting.
Joe Staten.
Is it? Yeah. Oh yeah, you can see that. So I first of all, I dig the cover. It's not your typical comic book cover, I think. The way that it's almost like painterly with brush strokes. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. So anyways, this is a rehash. This is very much like the Star Trek episode. What's it called? Tournament, where he's on the planet with the
Gork or Gorgon, whatever.
Gorn. The Gorn, yes.
Gorn, yeah.
So he's trapped on this planet with this Gorn, and then after that, it becomes like Enemy Mine. Mm-hmm. Do you know that movie? Yeah. Where they become friends and they learn to work together. Like, that was the whole thing was just that, like, meshed. A lot of fun. So his friend gets captured. I'm not sure if he's a doctor in the show. I forget. So they also have to work to get him back. Here is the captain of the ship. He's looking very bruisery. Hey man, he looks kind of John Burnish there in that picture. And Koenig is his name. You can see the way he's drawn, because they have to make him look like Martin Landau. And they kind of do a good job. There's a couple panels where you can like really tell that they're trying to make him look like Martin Landau, like this one. They give him that lip. Like, they do a good job, right, of making him look like Martin Landau. And so yeah, they crash on the planet. Let me see if there's anything that kind of sticks out. They're attacked by various, local monsters on the planet, which is just the animals there. And he has to try to survive by drinking weird stuff. And it was a fun comic. Again, the theme that I have is that I enjoyed this way more than I thought. And even though it was just a rehashing of everything that you've seen before, it was still fun. At the very end, there is the stars, and it's an article by Nicola Cudi. And she writes, so basically it's an informative article for kids about galaxies and stars and all that kind of stuff. A lot of fun. She goes over pulsars, quark, quasars, double stars, black holes, Anyways, fun issue, Space 1999. All right, so I am going to. We got a bunch of comments. Let me do the comments before I move you back over. So Metarod says, "Hi, Damien. I may have shown that one. Staten painted cover. Yes. Arena. Yes. Thank you. It's Arena. And why didn't I know that? Because the funny thing is, I took my husband to the place where they filmed that, and we each had our Star Trek shirts on, and we posed there just like the. Because the place where they filmed it is only about 40 minutes from my house. It's really cool. I like going to that place. Was that the Dennis Quaid film? Yes, Enemy Mine. Byrne did the art on this title a few issues later. Interesting. I wonder if he helped with a couple of the panels there. Morton, was that a long time ago? Yeah, I haven't watched that movie in a long time either. Yeah, I think it was Morton. Okay, thanks. Cootie was a guy, by the way. Oh, really? Like Nikola Tesla, Nikola Cootie. Yeah. Ooh, what did I do? I made some assumptions there. Thank you for telling me that, Metarock. No, maybe Nikola Cuddy was a man, I think. Okay, so we're going back and forth. Yeah, man. Reminds me of the Star Trek episode Darmok. Morton, I think it's called Arena in English. But that's the same one we're talking about. All right, I'm going to slide you on over. I just have two more comics to go through.
Okay, this is a story that I ran across. It was so weird. This is from 1966, and the story is called Another Time, Another Place. And it's about this girl who falls in love with an SS officer.
Ooh.
Good Hitler art. But,
this is going to be spicy. Let's go.
It's like, yeah, I told my mother my plans to marry Hugo, and she accepted them more calmly than I had anticipated. It's like, well, you know, he might be kind of un-American, but if he makes you happy, and he goes, but I'm going to tell you about your aunt that you never heard of. And so she tells her sister, like when they were growing up in Germany, her sister fell in love with an SS officer. And like she was like, the mother was like, well, that Hitler guy's crazy. You know, he's never going to amount to anything. You know, he's just going to cause trouble. And she's like, oh, no, Hitler's the Fuhrer and all this stuff. So, you know, their father says, yeah, Hitler's no good. But the dark-haired girl, she's like, oh, I'm in love with my officer, and he's the greatest, and Hitler's the greatest. So
I'm going to cut that little part and just make it a meme.
Thanks.
I'll put a little hat on you with the mustache. We'll get you off YouTube yet. Go ahead. So,
yeah. They'll probably, elect me, Secretary of State or something. So anyway, we all know how World War II went, and towards the end, her boyfriend comes back and says, hey, this army stuff's for the birds, I'm going to desert. And so he comes back to get his girlfriend, and but the Gestapo is looking for him, and they're like, oh no. And by the way, this art's by Sal Gentile. Gentile. I guess kind of funny for an artist that's drawing this Nazi story.
I know. I was thinking that myself.
But so he comes back to get his girlfriend, and just as they're getting ready to run away, the Gestapo comes and takes them away, her father and stuff. And for some reason, they don't take the blonde girl, so she gets out. She gets out of World War II, okay, and comes to America. I guess she marries an American soldier or something, and comes back. But
she tells her story.
There's one panel I didn't really show her. It was kind of funny. Oh yeah, the swastika.
Oh my gosh, in the background. Whoa.
Yeah. I think this story was written by Joe Gill. from 1966. I just thought that was kind of funny. But
Wow.
yeah, but then she gets to the end and she says, "Well, that's the story of your aunt that you never met, but you'll be happy with your boyfriend." And she's like, "Oh well, maybe I won't marry him after all." that fascist stuff doesn't really cut it.
Yeah. There was another story on there called Fickle, so I guess that refers to her.
Fickle heart, yeah.
So speaking of Nazis, let's go into my war comic.
All
Now,
right.
this one is a 60 center, so that means it's kind of later, I think. So this one is from 1983. Wow, that's really late. So this is a later one. I don't know. I don't think it's a reprint. Now this cover just had me rolling. It says, "This is a man," and he says, "No, don't kill me. I don't want to die." And so I was like, I've got to read it.
Sounds perfectly rational.
Exactly. So, but in these stories, you have to fight. So there's a couple of stories in this one, but I am really, really going to focus on the ads in this comic. This is a comic sent from Satan to defile our children. You're going to see the different ads in this book. They are insane. So the first one is called Nazi Victory, and it's about these. And they always make these Nazis look like so weird and crazy. So you've got the Americans, and they just look normal. But there's really I don't get this. The first panel, it says these are the Germans. The last salvo was perfect. The Amerikaner cruiser ist kaputt. Full speed ahead. We must leave these waters. So I don't understand. Why are the Germans speaking like broken English to each other and throwing in ist kaputt? Why wouldn't they just speak German to each other and not throw in? I was like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But whatever. So here, look at the crazy, the face of that crazy Nazi commander, captain. So this was actually a lot of fun. They have to this ship is iron proof. It's got thick steel. They can't bomb it or whatever. And so they have to send this group in to stick explosives to the bottom of it. It was really interesting. And it shows even the honor of the Americans, because there was one guy, a German guy, that got hit and he was drowning, and the one guy goes back and pulls him out, and you can see him there, saves him when the clock is ticking down and they're going to be the explosions. I was like, okay. So was that American spirit. Now, the first ad we come across is this My Tantrum Mat. These are almost like parodies of real ads. Feel a screaming rage coming on? Hang on, your tension reliever is on the way. What? Who needs to buy this Tantrum Mat? Don't be caught without it. Hottest novelty since a pet rock, I guess. Hilarious instructions and testimonials. Who would buy that? Tantrum Mat. Okay, so we go to the next story, and it's called Commando Raid. And this is a typical story where you've got these really brave Americans going up against the sleazy Nazis. Look, you could see him over there. There's the commando. And all they do is they love to torture Americans. They like to capture them so that they could torture them. And so they get a hold of one guy who knows that. I mean, look at him. Look at this Nazi guy. I think that guy's face. And all he does is like I said, capture and torture people. So here we come to another, oh, look at him here going crazy. Ha, 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 ha. Now, here's another ad. Money, miracles everywhere. Rub the Buddha for money. Now get ready. It's your lucky turn. It says, order right now. I want to rub the Buddha for money. Mail coupon was $7. It says, do you need money desperately? Are you up to your neck in overdue bills and worrisome debt? Are you struggling along just trying to make ends meet with no light in sight? Just mail coupon was $7. and rub the Buddha for money. Like, that is horrible. I mean, what kind of ads are these? So anyways, that one ends well with everybody doing it. But then the next ad is, I can't believe these are real. How to make others secretly do your bidding with the astonishing power of automatic mind command. What the hell? And then they have all of these, like, they go on and on about how you can have all these powers. And all you have to do is, please rush me a copy of this, cash on delivery. I guess you can get it in the mail before you send it. I mean, these ads are even better than, the Nazis torturing this American guy. Like, they torture him, and I guess one of the worst tortures they do to him is they, like right here, he's blowing smoke in his face. I can't get this to line up. Right there, he like takes his
like blowing smoke in the back of his head. That'll get him.
Then look at this panel where the guy has like the American has the Nazi shadow on his face. Yeah,
swastika.
Yeah, and that's the title. Anyway, okay. Here are good news for those who believe. Here are over 100 ready to use mystic chants for money, power, and love. And then, I mean, just like, what kind of ads are these? It's just so strange. And then we get to the title story. This is a man, and this is all about a coward. He just gets there. He's brand new, and they're in the middle of a battle, and everyone's shooting, and he's so scared, and everyone keeps slapping him in the face and calling him a coward, and they call him all these names. But he finally goes in and starts killing people left and right, and he's a hero now. I mean, he racks up a body count. Look at there, he's getting punched for being a coward. And then after he racks up a body count, he's got everyone's respect. Here's an ad for, this one is a normal ad. There are millions of collectors collecting collectibles. So this is the official comic and science fiction book catalog. Yeah. And then finally, cancel the evil eye for $6.60. And then the magic power of voodoo mail coupon with $6.66. This comic is sent straight from hell to like I don't know, they're like trying to get everybody involved in all this mysticism, and this is just a weird comic. So the ads in the 80s really changed. All right, let's look at some of the comments. Wow, that GI must be talking really fast. 60 cents, would that have been quite a high cost for a comic in 83? I think that was normal, right?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Under $1. Not bad.
6 for 83, yeah. Rub his head or his stomach? I don't know. Rub both, I guess. All right, you're up. I just have one more comic, and that's
okay.
That you're interested in.
This is Secret Romance #7, and it's got a cover and a story by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. That's what really got me collecting Charleton Romance, because I got some. I bought this lot of Silver Age stuff, and there was this book that had that had Garcia Lopez story in it. And I'm like, wow, I had no idea he worked for Charleton. And then I just started getting into some of the artists who worked there. But talking about strange ads, are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm sorry. My tape got stuck on my book. Inflatable. Whoa.
Life-size inflatable doll.
That's quite common practice now.
Just says, just add air, lifelike in every detail.
Dang. Do they have a male one?
And it gives you a whole paragraph here about things you can do with it. Yeah. Take it riding with you. Take it to parties.
Oh, Lord.
Let your imagination go, it says.
You're right. That's a weird ad. That's
for $9.95, you get the doll, and she's 5'4" beauty that wears size 8 clothes. So it doesn't come with any clothes, but for $16.99, you can get the complete package for ultimate enjoyment your London doll comes with complete with pajamas, bikini, and a wig in either blonde or brunette.
I wish you would have actually looked up what that doll really looked like and showed pictures. Like when someone got that doll in the mail, it couldn't have looked like that. It must have been hideous. It's like the morning after.
That's hilarious. But the comic book that they're running in, I mean, you can see what they thought about the people who are reading these comics.
Mind control, Nazi voodoo mind control. Hey, besides, so we both just have one left. Why don't we make ourselves?
Well, let me tell you about one panel in this. This is by Fred Himes.
Okay, and, can you just do it that way?
Yeah, I'll just show it to you. It's the girl says, every time I have to get in the bottom of this filing drawer, Mr. Granberry wants something. And it's like every time I get in the bottom drawer, and there he is.
Look at where his hands are. The bottom drawer. Okay, stay out of that bottom drawer, honey. Sounds like you'd need a lot of puff.
Yeah.
Just checking in. I'm finishing dinner. I'll catch you guys on the replay. Thank you, Paulo. So this was my pick in the romance, and so you went ahead and read this too. So I just randomly picked this because I like the cover. Boys and Girls in Love. I think that is a really cool psychedelic cover. Yeah. So I don't know if you want to talk about the art on the cover.
That's Tony Tallarico, who was I don't know. He was like he was around in he did a lot of like the pinups, like the Partridge Family.
Oh, yeah. There's a pinup actually in this issue.
Things like that, yeah.
Yeah. So the first story is called Please Love Me, and it's about this girl or young woman who's very superficial because when she was young, this is a typical trope. When she was young, she was ugly. Yeah. And they show her in the past in blue, but she bloomed. And then as she bloomed, she's still not very mature. And she wants to make up for being ugly. So she just goes with as many guys as she can because she feels it's all superficial. Until she meets this one guy. And she dumps the guy that she's with, this guy, and all the other guys. And she starts to take it slow. And she gets to know this guy. And from then on, she's maturing. Even her mother makes her help clean the house for the first time. And then by the end, she says, he doesn't love me yet, but that's okay. We'll get there. And then there we have the pinup of someone in who is it? Bobby Sherman. He's a rocker, right?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't call him a rocker. He was a teen idol.
Yeah, teen idol. There you go. Okay, so I don't know if you want to have anything to say about that story.
I just thought it was funny. She's just he won't love me, but I'll make out with him anyway.
Yeah. Oh, and here's an ad for ugly nails. Stop ugly nails.
I got to get some of that. My nails are ugly.
Stop them. All right. So then the next one we have after the pinup is Just Friends. And I actually really like the way they drew his hair in that. It looks different from the females. Look at her hair. Look at his. It's got a lot more like lines and texture. I don't know why. That's just that's
Fred Himes.
But isn't that a big difference in the quality of art from one hair to the other?
Well, yeah.
There's so much more line work and texture in there.
Because his hair is dark. So he had to have more lines to make it look dark.
I guess. I mean, it is.
She had like the red hair, so you didn't want to have too many lines because it would be too dark.
I guess. So this is the one where I told you we should take a shot for every time they say chick.
Yeah.
they say chick so much. And this is a story where this guy's got groovy pants. I want those pants. This is a story where she likes this guy, right? I can't remember. But then she decides to go with another guy that she sees at the party, and she's thinking about him. Then no. The guy goes off to school, and he's gone for months, and she's struggling to stay faithful to him. Finally, she starts.
To no avail.
Yeah. Finally, she starts dating, and then when her boyfriend comes back, he's like, "Girl, I was dating the first week." and then it's so hilarious when they end it, because they're like, you know what? When we're away from each other, we're gonna do what we want to do, but when we're together, it'll be just you and I was like, that was the weirdest message ever for an ending of a comic.
Love the one you're with.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if you know anything about the art in that one or want to say anything.
That was Fred Himes. He was a local San Antonio artist. I did meet him one time. He's an interesting character.
Oh, the Just Friends art reminds me of Charles Burns. Oh yeah, you're right. The texture of the hair. That's so true. Now the next one has much better art right off the bat. No more kids' kisses. And let's go ahead and show that art.
That art is by Tori Rapizza, and he's an artist that I like very much. He's like an example of why I think Charleton comics are better than DC comics.
I mean, it's so hard for me to get that in there, but even the little, I can't see what I'm showing. I'm sorry, people. Can you see the details in the back of the party? Like, there's a lot of details in the house in the very background. It's much more detailed than, say, this panel from the other story, where in the background all you have are just lines, right? So, yeah, much more detailed. And in this story, I forget what's going on. I just read it this morning and I forgot. Oh, this is where this woman wants to be mature. And so she starts going out with an older guy. And then when she realizes it, like he's married and divorced, and he's been playing her for a fool. And the boy that she got rid of because he's always too immature. All he wants to do is be with his hot rods and play football. Well, she decides that that's okay for her now. She went too fast, and so now she's going to slow down. And there was this big brawl between the two where he comes and saves her. And
he comes and tells her that he was divorced and hadn't paid alimony in 6 months or something.
Oh, yeah, that. And then she decides that she's going to take it slow and that they will both mature together. God, I can't get that centered. So yeah, fun story. There was an ad for all these different romance comics.
Yeah,
that's a lot of romance comics.
It's a whole lot of romance.
And then there's an ad for having a trim tummy. So in the romance, you get trim tummy and bad nails. But in the male comics, you get satanic stuff. Lose fat now. Here she is. Juvelex. They're getting him hooked on diet pills. All right. So that was the 5 Charleton comics that I read. And
we might have to end it here because my computer, I didn't bring my cord, and I'm almost out of power.
Oh, I still have my art books. Oh, well.
Go ahead and we'll just go until I lose power.
Okay. All right. So I brought a bunch of art books from inside because I thought we were gonna. I thought you had art books, but you actually have history books. So this is an art exhibit.
Yeah, I almost bought it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. No, this was an art exhibit I went to, I think when I was in San Francisco many years ago. And then I tracked this down because I always wanted the companion book to it. Beautiful art, Andrew Wyeth. Now go ahead and say what you were going to say. Sorry.
Yeah, that's so interesting about he had this model that he painted for years and years and years and nobody knew about it.
Yeah. There's a lot of boobs in this, so I'm not going to show that, obviously, but they're gorgeous pieces of art in this book. So,
I almost brought out a book by his father, N.C. Wyeth.
I love that stuff too. What a talented family. Oh, look at this. This stuff is just. Can you see that? No. Okay.
Yeah.
This stuff is just gorgeous to look at. I mean, I think so. So yeah, I grabbed that. The Helga pictures by Andrew Wyatt. Okay, so you're up with your historical book.
Well, we were talking about what we were going to talk about on this stream, and I thought maybe I could talk about comic books that I read when I was a kid that turned me into a comic book freak.
Yes,
like this comics by Les Daniels. This is where the first time I was exposed to EC Comics and Fox and Crow and like Golden Age Superman and Batman, and it was really an eye opener. And this book, it has, it's got text about talking about animals and superheroes. And there's I have a bunch of text, and then they'll show they'll have a little comic section. And,
wow.
So this was great for me when I was, I was maybe 10, 11, 12 when I got this book. And even had a little color section in the back. And I just devoured this book. But that's one of the books that got me hooked on comic books.
Wow. Yeah, those are definitely cool. And to say that you got that when you were 10 to 12, that's pretty awesome. Okay, the next book I have is Botero's Women. Now, my copy of this is a pretty large book. This book is a little bit grody. A lot of these books I had on my coffee table for a long time, and my cats would sleep on them and claw them up. And so I'm not going to throw them away, though, because I just really like them. And so, sorry, that had boobs on it. But there's going to be a lot of boobs in this book, too. Sorry. I don't know why I have lots of art books of women's boobs. But here we have Botero's just like this very interesting art. It's just strange and quirky, and I don't know. But it's appealing to me. It's just different. Oh, here's a good one where you have she's a skeleton. Let's see if I can get that in. Kind of Day of the Dead thing, and then let's move that one over. There you go. I don't know. Do you like Botero?
Yeah, kind of reminds me of what's his name? Cooper, the comic artist. What's his name? One of Terrence's favorite. Dave Cooper.
Oh yeah, I don't really know. Sorry, I'm really not good.
I'm blanking on his name, but that his the artwork reminds me of his. Some of the stuff he did, like a book called Overbite.
Yeah. So this is just him in his studio.
Oh, he did big murals and stuff, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. Very interesting.
You're up.
Okay, this book, I can't believe you never read this book, but I thought everybody read this book. You checked it out of the school library. The Great Comic Book Heroes by Jules Pfeiffer.
No.
It's got like the first appearances or early appearances of Superman. Back before he could even fly, when he was still jumping and lifting cars.
Yeah.
And Batman, the original from Batman #1, first appearance of the Joker.
Nice. Look at that.
And all these heroes, is Plastic Man and the Spirit, the Human Torch, and on and on. It's just the great comic book heroes by Jules Pfeiffer. And he has a lot of interesting commentary. He worked for Will Eisner on like the Spirit and stuff. He would like erase the lines on the artwork and stuff. And he's talking about that. It was a very interesting book.
Okay, so the next book I have is this. This one has been mauled. Like you can tell, my cats they did nail practice on this book. But it's still such a great book. It's gigantic. It's the Rolling Stone photographs. And so, it's just going to be, oh, well, here's an iconic image, right? And so you're going to get these giant photos of, just rock and roll stars and, done by like Annie Leibovitz and, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Here's, my husband will like this one. There's Madonna. Wait, I can't see what I'm doing. There she is. Yeah. And so you just, you're getting these rock and roll photographs in this gigantic format. And there was Rodney Dangerfield. Oh, look at this. This is awesome. A double page spread of John Belushi.
John Belushi. All right. 1941.
Yeah. Really cool book. Especially, and I've got my own very, cat sharpened version of it. All right. I've got 2 more books. We're going to do this before the battery runs out.
Okay. After I read in that comics book, EC Comics, I got this book, The Mad World of William M. Gaines. It's a biography of Mad, the EC publisher, and it talks all about. I don't think there's many pictures in this book, but he talks all about how EC came about. Like Max Gaines invented comic books, and he owned Wonder Woman and Green Lantern stuff, and he sold them to DC so that he could start his own comic to print crappy comics. And then he died in a boat accident, and Bill Gaines took over EC, and he's like, well, let's change it from educational comics to entertaining comics, and started publishing horror comics, and sales took off, and the rest is history.
Yeah. So,
probably not the greatest comics ever published, but at the time they had the best artwork. That's for sure.
And I don't know, but that book doesn't have any pictures, so.
No, it doesn't have a lot of pictures.
And the last book I have is I have like 3. Oh wait, I actually have 2 more. What am I talking about? I could just show them at the same time. Do you have 2 more books or one?
I have one more book.
Okay, I'll show these at the same time. So I have 2 more Rolling Stones. I have images. This is the complete covers, and then images of rock and roll. And so this one has a flip cover on it. It's pretty cool. And these are just, like it says, it's the complete covers, every cover to every issue of Rolling Stone magazine.
The picture on the cover of the Rolling Stone.
Yeah, and so even though some of them are small, it's okay. They do have ones that are full page, like this one of Elvis, right? So this is a pretty cool book. And then finally, this one is, of course, like I said, images of rock and roll, and this is going to be more like, I can't even tell who that is. Oh, it's the guy from YouTube, Bono. He's living life large. I don't know who this is. Is this the Allman Brothers? I have no idea. But you just got all these people dressed up as cowboys.
I think that's the Eagles, isn't it?
Oh, most likely. And then a whole bunch of dead people on the ground. Let me see if that's the Eagles.
I think that's the Eagles in the bottom that are dead.
I'm looking for Joe Walsh. I can't find him. All right. So yeah, you get the idea. So here's Johnny Cash lounging. So these are more or less just like, portraits that they would have, I guess, had in the magazine rather than like modeled photographs. You know what I mean? All right. Cool. Those are my art books. You've got one more, right?
My last one is the classic Smithsonian collection of newspaper comics.
Oh, wow.
Giant hardback.
That looks good.
And it's just got everything from Yellow Kid to Crazy Cat to Gasoline Alley, you name it.
I've never heard of Yellow Kid.
You never heard of the Yellow Kid?
No, was that racist?
He was the very first comic character, continued comic character.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But my favorite in this book is The Little Orphan Annie daily strips by Harold Gray. It's hard to see.
Yeah,
but, it's just I get this book out every couple of years to read this story. It's of this guy is like filling, he's like this local handyman guy, and he's always helping people out and doing things. He's like, I'm going to fill in this well for, because some kid might fall into it. And it was like, oh, he's filling in the well, and he gets, everything, junk, everybody's junk, and throws it down there, and throws cement down there, and just totally, nails, and he fills in this well, and then he like skips town, and people are like, I wonder what he buried in there. Maybe, and then somebody else was disappeared or something, and they thought maybe he killed that guy, and so they're like, we got to dig out this well. So the whole town was like, they're going to dig out this well, and he was like, he made it like a total chore. And so it went on for weeks and weeks and weeks, and they're digging in there. They're like, well, we're gonna, yeah. And that guy, he took off, and he got onto a ship and took off. But it's just a very ironic story.
So Sleepy Reader says I need to go back to kindergarten because I don't know Yellow Kid. Yeah, I really don't know much about comic history. So that's why
It's the Smithsonian Book of Newspaper Comics.
Jimmy's dead at the bottom of the well. Yeah,
it's well worth it. It's well worth it.
Really cool.
And you find out what's at the bottom of the well. And Annie knew it was nothing all the way along, but they wouldn't listen to her.
All right. Well, before your computer battery dies, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for everybody in the chat.
And even some, Pie Face, you stuck around and you don't even read comments. That's hilarious. I love it. Thank you for being here, everybody, and commenting. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a live stream tomorrow with Mark Morris. I'm going to set that up. I'm trying to get one with Captain Strange Life and a couple of other people, just because, I'm off. And so, I'm trying to set things up. If anybody wants to have a live stream with me, just contact me and I'll set it up. And then, okay, Sleepy's having a seizure. Fun show. All right. Goodbye, I guess. Thanks everyone for being here. Don't leave, Donald. I'll talk to you in a second. Let me go ahead and end this. Thank you. Have a good week.